Hi guys, welcome to Mindset Mastery Module 5. In this module, we're specifically looking at the human brain and how it functions, and specifically how we can understand it better so we can start to program it. Like we've talked about, the brain is just like a very complex computer, and it is programmable once we understand it, how it functions, and then therefore how we can program it. So did you actually know that we have 3 brains, not just one? So the first brain that we have is our neocortex, or we call this our wise brain or our thinking brain. Now, we only use this brain between 0 for some people and 5% of the time, which is a bit of a concern because this is where we do a lot of our complex reasoning and where we really set our goals and ultimately kind of creating the life that we desire. Then we have our limbic brain, or this is also called our mammalian brain, and we can refer to this as the monkey brain or the feeling brain. So this is where we process emotion, and the monkey brain is very destructive when it comes to reacting to certain traumatic events like stress, relationship breakdowns, financial pressure in our life. So the monkey can kind of take control and really distract us from our goals and from actually ever entering in and accessing our neocortex. So we spend between 10 and 20% of time in our monkey brain. And the final one is the reptilian brain, or we can also refer to this as the robot, because that's exactly what its nature is. Now, this is where our instincts come from, and about 80 to 90% of our waking time is spent in our robot brain. So these are things that we do autonomously without thinking. That moves into our reptilian brain. So just being able to walk, move an arm, move a leg, sit down, squat, jump in the air, drive a car, brush your teeth. Like all of those habits and things that we learn how to use our body for, specifically motor control, this is where that goes, right? So what we want to try and do is learn these 3 brains a little bit more deeper so then we can actually start to program it. And I'm going to take you through this process now. So typically for most people, we live too much in the monkey brain. In today's modern day society specifically, there is so much distraction, and with the prevalence of social media, we often get caught up scrolling feeds, being reactive to marketing and advertising, billboards, you name it. There's so many things that are coming at us that are just basically distractions, because we live in a consumerist society, so we're being constantly sold to. A lot of the time we don't even realize that we're being sold to. And so there's just constant marketing and advertising everywhere. What this does is it really distracts us from ever accessing our wise brain or our neocortex. Now, for me, I do this every week and then at a deeper level every month. And I actually schedule in specific thinking time. Because if you think about it, so many people just go through their life, but they're never actually stopping, pausing, and reflecting on how they can improve it, or what they're doing well and what they maybe need to improve on. So this is the process that we call reflection. Now, reflection allows us to consciously access the neocortex and identify self-limiting habits. Now, obviously, we've learnt about our self-limiting beliefs. Well, as a flow-on effect from that, we have self-limiting habits. We have specific coping behaviors, specifically when we're stressed, when we're tired, when we're anxious, and when we're feeling under pressure. We go to these coping behaviors just to help us get through those times. These are what we call self-limiting habits. So I could go through a few of these. Literally just sitting down and having chocolate in the afternoon, or binge watching Netflix, as I always talk about, scrolling social media, procrastinating and finding unnecessary tasks that aren't important, cleaning the house when you should be going for a workout, putting things off. This is where those habits and those behaviors stem from. So what we want to try and do is understand, okay, how do these habits form? And then how can we start to break them off and start to replace them with better habits? So we're talking about creating healthy habits like exercising every day, going to bed at the right time so you get a restful night's sleep, completing some form of meditation, relaxation, or breath work every day, eating healthy meals every day and preparing your food, and of course, writing down your goals every day and bringing internal alignment to where you want to go. So if we want to understand our self-limiting habits further, firstly, we have to understand what the habit is and what the behavior is. So we have to diagnose that. Then we have to understand what the trigger is. So what is the emotional impulse? What am I feeling when I want to go and eat chocolate? And what am I feeling when I want to procrastinate and not do my workout? There's some kind of trigger. It could be work-related stress, could be an argument with your partner, could be money issues, could just be, you're feeling demotivated that day. So we need to understand the emotional impulse. That's really important. And then we have to look at the routine. And when and where do we do this? Normally our self-limiting habits, they happen the same kind of time of day and also in the same way. It's a pattern of behavior. It's pretty easy to spot. Now, when it comes to this, all we're really trying to do is start with one self-limiting habit and work on that. So when we start to understand this at a deeper level, we can start to really break it off. And then what we finally need to look at is, what is the reward I'm getting from this habit? Or what is the feeling? Because when we start to understand the feeling, that's when we can start to create replacement behavior that will simulate the same feeling. So then what it's about consciously stopping yourself at this point here, when you feel the trigger. So when you get the trigger, when you have a stressful day or the kids are going berserk, you have a fight with your partner, or you get an unexpected bill, there's a surge of adrenaline in that moment. There's a surge of cortisol that can actually disorientate us and stop us from thinking. Now, when we've got these ingrained self-limiting habits, that's going to want to take over and cope with the stress. So at this point here, that's so important that you stop, pause, and reflect. Then you can actually control the moment that matters. Because eating the chocolate didn't happen here. It happened here. It happened when the stress came and you chose to let it affect you. I hope that makes sense. So what we're doing is we're retaking control of the mindset and we're taking conscious action to implement a strategy in that moment to help you win, to help you overcome that. Now, the more and more you do this, the easier it is to let go of your self-limiting habits, right? Let's take a smoker, for example. When they have a really stressful event or they've gone through some trauma and maybe they've been free from cigarettes for 6 to 8 weeks and they're making great progress, but something comes along and they have a real desire to have a cigarette because that's their outlet. That's always been their way of coping with stress. It's their me time. It's that 5 or 10 minutes where they can just have me time and relax. But what we want to do is, okay, consciously in that moment, what can I do right now to help me achieve my goals? So this is where we're trying to really get the neocortex involved in that decision-making process. And this is the whole purpose of this video. It's about giving you the awareness and the insight so that you can start to master the moments that matter. That's when we start to get breakthrough, and that's where we start to get really huge, life-changing results. So this type of reflection is twofold. There's the type of reflection where you're in the moment and you're fighting the impulse, you're fighting against that urge to, give in to the temptation. There's that type of awareness and that type of, on-the-spot reflection. But then there's also your deeper reflection, which you do, weekly and also monthly or even every 3 months. Now, this is where you do a review of your habits, your behaviors, your goals, and just how you're going with all of that, like how you are actually tracking. Now, for me personally, I've actually created a 20-question list, which I call a personal audit, which allows me to quickly, just with a yes or no answer, diagnose the different areas in my life and whether they're on track or not. So these questions are specifically designed around my health, my happiness, my family relationships, and my finances. So I'm able to quickly diagnose if there's one area in my life that's starting to fall down, I can take immediate action to rectify it. Now guys, this is by no means easy. The monkey brain, the feeling brain is powerful, and trying to defeat the monkey brain is really, really challenging. Now, you're not going to win all the time. That's just life. You know, we're human beings. We have temptation in different areas of all of our lives, and sometimes we're going to give in. But this video is designed to give you the tools and the awareness to start to see these patterns in action. Like I've said, with mindset, the greatest thing that you can develop is being self-aware, is your awareness of your behaviors, your habits, and your patterns. As you start to see these going through your day, through your week, through your month, you're going to start to really pick them up. And what you're going to be able to do is you're going to be able to start to win in some of these moments that matter. And that is really pleasing when you do that. So what I want you to do is I want you to download the 20 questions attached at the end of this video. And what I want you to do is just create a simple Google spreadsheet and add those 20 questions in, and then every week create a personal audit. You can do this in any day you like. I normally do this on a Sunday before my week. I reflect upon the week I've just had. I just quickly go through those questions. It takes me 1 minute, and I just go yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, and I start to just look at how I did that week. What I also want you to do is I want you to schedule in reflection time for yourself every week, at least 20 minutes per week. And I want you to spend that time with a journal open, just consciously thinking about your week. Think about some of the scenarios that you went through, the different circumstances, and how you handled the stressful moments. And then what was your behavior like? When we reflect, we really get to see how we handled the circumstance, and we can grow and learn from that. And an absolute must do is to schedule in a 90-day reflection weekend. Now, this could be 1 or 2 days every 3 months that you use to really take stock of your life, to have a look at the habits, look at how you've changed, look at how you've evolved, but then really reconnect to your goals. This is a powerful practice that will really help you stay on track with your goals. I hope this video has given you an insight into how the human brain works, and I'm really excited to share more content with you around human psychology in Module 6. I'll see you there.